So as you approach these people, try to stay away from the titles, because if somebody came through before you with a letter that offended them or a phone call that offended them, and they titled themselves a real estate investor, well, guess what? You're going to adopt their reputation immediately, whether you like it or not.
Sure.
Because that's how the human brain works. So instead of that, call and say, hey, my name's Chad. I've got a team of people here in Roanoke built specifically to help families going through probate. And as part of that, we go to the courthouse, meet with the clerk each month, and she tells us who we should be reaching out to. So that's a much different approach than, hi, my name's Chad. I'm a real estate investor. We're looking to buy 10 houses in Roanoke this year. Do you guys have a home you'd like to sell?
Welcome, thriving agents and investors nationwide. Today is Thursday, August 20th, 2020, and this is Mastermind call number 292. I just want to start with a little good news. We had our first New Jersey county come back today. Union County, New Jersey is back. A couple weeks ago, we got our first New York County back. Hopefully, we feel for you guys in New York and New Jersey. I know it's been a long, dry spell. We're really, really glad to have you back. Let's go to our first caller.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing great, Danny. How about you?
I'm doing awesome, guys. So basically, I'm very new to all this. So usually when I'm on the phone with someone, again, I'm very new at this. I don't know if it's because my pitch can either be too long, and personally, I don't like sound like I'm rattling off. But I run into people that will either hang up because I'm talking too long, and I understand that I need to be listening more. But how can I better condense value I provide, like services I can do, et cetera, and not have them okay, no, thank you, bye-bye.
So it comes down to better questions, and I'll show you an example. So you're asking how to condense all this important value, how to condense it and jam it down their throat before they can hang up on you. Ask a better question. How can I get this person to engage with me so I have time for them to understand my value?
Okay.
And those can be little simple things like, what's been the toughest thing for you so far? And that can turn into them they just unload everything, every bit of weight that's been on their shoulders gets unloaded. And at that point, you just become the listener, right? You're just like, okay, they've got a sister they hate, they've got 3 houses, and you're kind of banking this all in your head. And your next response should be, get an affirmation from them, and then ask another good question and another good question. And you were right. And what you need the most is to role play with us, and then we'll kind of help guide you on the language and where you need to be asking those good questions. Something Bruce and I are working on that we didn't finish last week, by the way, Bruce, now that I'm remembering, is basically a list of good questions. That's something that people ask us often. It's like, well, what do you mean good questions? And we're working on a list of kind of in categories, like what are the good questions to get people out of probate quicksand and to get the engagement? What are the good questions around personal property, real property, property preservation, financing, all these different things? And we talk about it in role plays, and it's all there for you if you want to sit for 60 hours and listen. But we realize that's not always feasible. So we're working on a newer version of the probate seller interview sheet that will show you all the information you need, and then you flip it over and you've got some of the best questions to break you through those points. So I think booking a call with Bruce is going to serve you well. And then if he and I can finish what he started and get that piece to you, when you do find yourself in that situation, you can kind of flip the page over and be like, all right, I'm going to try this one on for size. So your attorney helped you get the insurance switched over, right? And so it'll kind of give you a cheat sheet. That's the one thing I would say is the reason they're running you off the phone is they don't see your value. And getting your entire message to them more quickly is not necessarily the best way they're not hearing you. They're in a pattern. They're in a behavioral pattern that's worked to run everyone else off, and they think it's going to work with you until you say something abrupt and break the pattern and get their interest. Then they ask you a question. Then you've got the rest of your career to blow their socks off and show them all the value you can provide. So I would just say that your biggest thing is not necessarily how do you get a whole bunch of information to them before they have a chance to hang up. It's how do you get them to not want to hang up so you can give them a whole bunch of information.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
I'm going to chime in and give you a couple of little tips during your intro as you're getting to that first question. Is yes, you are right. Obviously, you want to be able to condense that first introduction part of what you say down. Personally, I run into times when I feel like my intro is dragging on, and you need to recognize when you feel like you're dragging on like that, and go ahead and ask them for permission to take another second. So occasionally, I don't want to say incorporate this in your script or your dialogue or anything, but occasionally it's okay to say, you know what, I'm talking a lot. Do you mind if I tell you the 3 things that I can do for you guys to help right now?
Okay, gotcha.
I also there's a very powerful technique when you're delivering a message, and it's to use the power of 3s. So a lot of times what I'll try to do, no matter what type of lead it is, who I'm talking to, is say, I've found that there are 3 things that people struggle with the most, and there are actually 3 different ways that I can help with that. Do you mind if I tell them to you? And you're kind of naming the next piece of your conversation so that they don't fear that you're just going to drone on and on and on. You've told them 3 things, and you want to deliver those real fast. I found that some people want to sell their house, and they need some help getting their home ready for sale to maximize their value. Some people need maintenance, house maintenance and repairs, and other people just need clean up and clean out. Okay, there's 3 ways that I help with that. I help this way, and this way. What's been your biggest struggle?
Okay, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I personally, I try and think of it in the aspect of, if this person were to call me, I don't want to, hang up on myself if I have to hear myself talk, And I don't like going through scripts. I prefer bullet points because it helps me be more in tune with the person I'm talking to. It helps me, make that connection. Because I don't want to just read off of a whole thing, and, there's no one shoe fits all. That's what I was kind of looking for. But yeah, I'm not a big script guy. I like to talk to people.
And thanks for the motivation for Bruce and I to finish our sheet.
Thank you guys.
We'll try to get that in your hands.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks,
perfect. Dan. We appreciate it. And by the way, the role play is the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern. Let's go to our next caller.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Welcome.
Just a very, very quick question for you, Chad. You said you had an interview, I heard a while ago that you had an interview with a probate lawyer, and it's on the archives of your site. I just want the name of that lawyer so I can look up that interview.
Yeah, if you go to the top right search bar and just put in Fraker, Fraker. So his name is John Fraker.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yep.
All right. Next up.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. So on the website or on our portal, right? So when you make calls, if you're calling a lead and let's say you have to either leave them a message or whatever, they have a missed call, so they call you back. Is there a way for us to look up that person? So for example, they'll call and they'll say, hey, this is Chad, you called me. Right? But that could be from, 3 lists ago. It could be from the May list. Is there any way to type their name and find out what list they come from so that you can see all their info? I don't know if that made sense.
No, it did. We do have a search function in the list view of your probate leads.
Okay.
I was trying to log into a demo account so I can not just be walking you through on memory. So if you're in My Probate Leads, you look under My Leads, you'll see My Probate Leads, and then you'll see Search Leads. And when you click on Search Leads, that's going to take you into, in essence, what is your master database. So you can set a date range, or you could back that all the way up to the year 2000, so you're searching your entire date range. But you can search by name or docket number, property address, or mailing address, or by phone number, and you can very quickly find anyone based on those variables.
Cool. I see that. Thank you. And another question is, when you are making your calls, so let's say on the portal you're on My Probate Leads, and then let's say you run your June leads, right? You're doing call by call, and once you're on that person's name at the bottom of the page, you can put the notes, as you were telling me last week, right? So you can either add note, track phone call, and then there's an option that says option status, and when you click on that where it says lead status, we can click on follow-up and put a follow-up date. So let's say I'm supposed to follow up with a person in a month, right? once we input that date on the follow-up date category, is there a way for us to get notified at that time, or should we do it separately on a calendar? Does that make sense?
Do it separately on a calendar, or build the discipline to look at your list view each, at a certain interval. So you could put it on the calendar, check April probate list for follow-ups, and then you can sort by follow-up date in the list view and see which ones you need to reach out to that week. And maybe it's a once-a-week calendar entry. The reason we're not notifying you right now, we built it with the intent of being able to, when you set a follow-up date, we send you an email and a text message. And we just haven't completely built all that functionality in for you guys. That's something that we're working on kind of in the next round of software development's never ending. So we'll get it to a point where you'll actually get a text notification on your own follow-up dates. But for right now, that's not there. So a good habit would be have a weekly calendar entry that says, check this list for follow-up dates until you build the habit. And then, just go into your list view, sort by date and your follow-up field and see if there's any for the week. And I would say, just to keep it simple, I'm recommending Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you do this every week and look and see who you need to follow up with for the week. And that kind of sets your schedule for the week, right?
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of follow-up, when you have people that, for example, either didn't answer or you left a voicemail, do you guys, or let's say even someone who happens, how much time would you wait before you follow up with someone that either hung up on you or just said, I got it all handled, blah, 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 but they didn't even really let you speak? Do you wait a few days, a week, maybe 2 weeks, roughly? I know there's no exact answer, but just a rough estimate.
There's not. I mean, it depends on, how aggressive your campaign is. I mean, our top performers are calling every day for the first 7 days until they get a conversation. If they hang up, they just go back the next day. From there, they roll back to weekly follow-ups and then monthly follow-up. And within that is, based on how the conversation goes, they'll deviate from that sequence, because if someone says, hey, my sister's coming into town on the 13th of September, then obviously that one's going to deviate, and you're going to be talking to them on the 12th or the 11th. But it just depends on, the answer is different for everybody. If you're doing the minimum that it takes to get by, you're calling once a month. If you really want to make the most of this, and you want to be more aggressive, call maybe not every day, but call every week and until you speak to them.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. That works. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys.
All right, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And a little prelude. If you're on this call and you're not paying good attention, get out a pad to paper and take notes, because the next up is one of the most successful agents in the country and probably the most successful probate agent we've ever dealt with. Dave Pannell's up next. How's that for putting pressure on you, Dave?
Hey, that's pretty cool intro. Dang, I got to live up to it.
Yeah, now you got to live up to the hype.
Those other last two people were talking. It's the same as an expired. If they're more pissed off, you know that they have something to sell. On expireds, but on probate, my only goal is to find out a court date, filing date, or if they have something to sell. So even if they get angry with me, I know they have something to sell. Or if they just tell me to F off, I know they're not selling something for at least a year. So that's my timeline. And if I can't get a hold of them, I'm going to keep calling them. They're not going to block my number because they don't know who I am. And when they actually do talk to me, I'm going to apologize and ask for permission. If you guys want to hear a live call recording, I got one.
So while he's setting that up, guys, if you haven't watched David's case study, we did it July 1st of last year, and I think it's tomorrow we're actually renewing that. We're going to do a new case study with David tomorrow. But he was the one I was referencing. Some of our top performers will call every day for the first 7 days, and I didn't know you were in queue, Dave. I'm glad you were. But anyway, to set the stage, David is very aggressive in his follow-up, and that comes through as this is a seven-figure niche for him because of that.
Yeah, and you got to have the farmer mindset when you're prospecting these people. It's not, I know that y'all teach you get an appointment, or you try to get the appointment. You just got to be open to them having a house to sell.
Here's the deal, guys. So, David, if you can just send us the audio file, I'll have Kat link to it in the show notes. So anyone who's listening, if you come back to the recording, we'll link that audio file in the show notes.
And David, I know you shared a statistic with Chad in his first interview, and it just was absolutely amazing to me. You had shared, I don't know if it was a particular deal or a certain percentage of your deals you were able to convert. I want to say it was like the 26th attempt or the 26th contact. Is that accurate?
They're all over the place. Sometimes I get a hold of them right away and I build a relationship. Sometimes it's like this lady I was wanting you to listen to. She hasn't, every time I picked up the phone, she's on the road doing something or call me back in the evening. And I don't have the energy at night to remember to call somebody. So
sure.
She finally picked up. I think it's 9 attempts to her over the last 7 months. So it's been slower, but the call was like, yeah, I got your packet. Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, you've been trying to call me. We're gonna sell this house, and I'm gonna call you. It was just perfect, and that's the reason to keep calling. You're not. If you think you're bugging these people, you're not bugging them. Every deal that I've gotten under contract as a wholesale, it's usually down to me and some other investor that's wearing shorts and a T-shirt at an appointment. I'm going as a realtor with a tie on, looking highly professional with my packets, pre-listing packets, but I could turn in a second and write an offer on the house and close on it within 5 days. That's my ultimate goal. I'm not showing up as a weekend warrior. They build trust right away.
Yeah. One thing you said there that we tell this to people all the time, David, is the harder it is to get a hold of somebody, the less likely you have any competition because nobody else is speaking to them either. So
that's true.
It's the 100%. It's the one that's the most diligent at finally getting through. And sometimes those are the easiest people to convert. I know my real estate career, sometimes the toughest people just avoided to answer the phone because they knew how easy they were to be convinced once they had a conversation with them. So yeah, it's very much a numbers game. I love your...
Yeah.
What's that?
That's every call in prospecting.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
That's why I expect it. That's why I'm not as long as I have my voice and I sound different and unique on the phone, I don't try to keep them on the phone and talk their ear off. I just want to know if they have a house to sell. I know they can't sell it for 4 months in Texas or even 6.
Yep.
So I got 6 months to become buddies with these people to get the appointment.
Perfect.
Or to teach them about monument of title and sell their house next week.
That's true. I've had very few of those, but I try every time, Chad. I really do. It comes across untrustworthy a little bit, like I'm rushing them, but I'm trying. I'm getting better at it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anybody who hasn't listened, Chad, tell them where to find David's interview, and then the follow-up will be posted, in the next few days?
Yeah, so I was going to tell everybody, anyone if you want to hear David's story from last year, we're doing the update tomorrow, but if you go to the top right in all the leads and type in Pannell, you'll see his case study. And Dave, I'm looking forward to hearing the update and doing yours tomorrow, and we'll probably publish that on Tuesday afternoon once we get caught up with these calls and everything, so we'll probably circulate that to everybody on Tuesday.
Okay.
All right, sir.
I didn't mean to take over your call.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Thanks for being here, man.
Yep. We got 3 more in the queue, guys. We got room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. And next up is phone number ending in 0036. You're up next.
Hey, this is Andy in Wisconsin.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, I don't necessarily have a question. I just have a request. I love the questions to ask. Maybe somewhere down the road, can you expand that to questions to ask probate attorneys? What I have found is they think they know your business and all that sort of stuff, and they're busy and time is money, and they bill in 6-minute increments and all that sort of junk. But if you can ask them a couple of good questions, that will help with converting them. That's all I had.
That's a good idea. We'll work on that. And Andy, I think you've seen this, but have you watched the interview with John Traker that we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about some of that in there. But that's a good idea. And I think as an extension, Bruce,
I do believe he said that he took solicitation mail and he opened it over his round file. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, I would rather not be in that round file.
Yeah, so there are some really good questions that will differentiate you very quickly and make sure the attorneys are listening. And as an extension of what I was talking about earlier, we'll add an attorney category on there. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good idea.
I won't belabor it. I do remember the one thing you said in Probate Mastery is you acknowledge that you know that they don't get paid until the very end. So time is money, correct?
Right. And you also acknowledge that they are human, they are entrepreneurs, and they struggle in their business the same way you do. And if you can ask good questions around that, just the kind of those affirming questions, and show them that you're empathetic to their struggles and not just looking to improve your own situation, but theirs too. And you can actually be a solution to them. And they don't know this, but when you ask a good question the right way, it becomes really apparent. Oh, this guy's different. So we'll definitely get that done for you.
Thank you. I'm done.
All right. We only have 2 more in the queue, guys. This will be the first call in 2 years. It doesn't go 60 minutes. So please jump on, hit *6 and hit 1. And we got plenty of room for you. Next up is phone number ending in 3780. You're up next.
Hi, this is John in West Virginia. How are you all doing?
Hey, John, I'm in West Virginia, too. I'm up in Snowshoe.
Hey, good. We got to stick together here. I'm in the
That's
Eastern
right.
Panhandle here.
Yep.
So it's something. Hey, I have got 2 quick questions. One is, where is the probate checklist found in our material?
So we have over 3,000 counties, John. It's hard for us to produce a piece that will work for everybody. So what we ask you to do is find a probate attorney in your market and use that as an opportunity to create a relationship with them. So you can approach them. So by law, they're not allowed to directly solicit for business. But most probate attorneys they would rather make money as an estate planner than they would as a probate attorney.
Right.
So 20% of any given county, typically 20% of the leads they have not retained an attorney. Those are pro se or pro per. So if you can approach those attorneys and say, hey, listen, my name's John. We help, a lot of families in probate. And what I realize is a lot of them, don't have legal representation, and we both know they need it. So what I was hoping is I could help you guys by giving you some free marketing. If you can help me by really outlining the local process here in Jefferson County or wherever you are, and then sit down with them and say, from the time somebody passes away until you've absolutely exhausted everything that needs to be done, let's just whiteboard all these things. And the idea is they're going to give you the process in that county and the big problems that most people encounter in that county. So you get a very localized knowledge, and it's applies to your court system. And at the end of that, you color all the things that are legal, you color one color, and everything else is a different color. And then you put the attorney's information in the footer, and that can become the back of your letter or an insert to your letter. So it gives you a chance to sit down and collaborate with an attorney. Instead of asking for something, you're saying, hey, can I do some free marketing for you? And it gives you a chance to sit down, and you think he's naturally going to ask, well, John, what is it that you do again? Like, you're going to have a natural, organic conversation where they get an opportunity. You get, an hour of this person's time, which is usually worth $250 to $500, and you guys are collaborating and talking about each other's business. And now every single month you're going to be marketing for that firm, and you're giving them a legal loophole to an anti-solicitation law, and no one else has ever done that for them. So it makes a big impression. So we can give you a list, like a timeline. In Probate Mastery, we go through the probate timeline and everything, but it's very general because what it looks like in California is much different than what it looks like in West Virginia. So we kind of keep that as a local exercise to help you accomplish 2 things. You get your checklist, 3 things. You get a much higher level of localized knowledge, and you get a good organic relationship with that attorney.
That makes sense. It does. Along those lines, since we're talking about different, jurisdictions and so forth, is there in Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia, can the personal representative of the estate sell the property out of probate before it's discharged?
So it won't be sold out of probate, but it can be sold during probate. And the money can't be distributed. It has to be released from escrow with a fidelity bond, or the will has to waive the fidelity bond. But as long as there's a bond or a bond waiver, it can be released into the estate's bank account. So like here, and I'm in Roanoke. I'm from West Virginia, but we can sell a house the day probate's filed. We can go under contract and get it closed, and then the fidelity bond or the waiver will allow the title company or the attorney to release to the estate's bank account. And then you've got a 4-month period for creditors If you cover all the liabilities in that period, probate could take as little as 4.5 months if you're really on top of your game. It usually ends up taking 6 to 8 months because people aren't that efficient and they get in probate quicksand in one place or another. But yeah, you can absolutely sell the assets here without court approval. You just can't release the funds until the probate closes.
But the man with the authority is the executor or the personal rep, right?
As soon as they have the letters testamentary, they have the authority.
Okay, good. I was wondering about that. Okay, great. Still kind of getting acclimated, and my first mailing goes out next week. I'm kind of excited, so we're kind of chomping at the bit here.
Awesome. Well, please keep coming back and participating. We appreciate it. Next up is phone number ending in 3040. You're up next.
Yes, I wanted to know how to handle when the executor or personal administrator says, "We've got it handled."
Well, that's a new one, right, Chad?
Yeah, I've never heard that objection.
I don't think it is.
I'm just kidding you. It's a great question, but
So it's becoming more and more common, and it's usually like understanding why they're saying that is I think the most important part. Someone has been there before you, and they've shown no value, or they've made a lowball offer, and this person's ego is like, protect me. So you're getting the reputation of whoever came before you, or the reputation of whoever sent a letter before you, even if they weren't on the phone. They think, all right, this person, they're all just trying to steal the house. So the tactic is you need to disrupt it. So it's become a pattern. They know it runs people off. It's just like if someone walks up to you in Macy's and says, oh, hey, is there any way I can help you today? What's your natural response? Nope, just looking.
No, I'm just looking.
Right, because you've learned, like, get the hell away from me. I don't want to be sold anything. That's what you're really saying, right? Like, your ego is like, she's going to charge you to death and make you spend $300. You're just, and so you're conditioned to give a response, and that response is usually, no thanks, I'm just looking, which is total BS, because you're walking out of there with $300 worth of stuff. You're going to do it on your terms. So these people feel the same way. They feel like they're pressured. They're being pulled out of their comfort zone. They feel like people are trying to take advantage of them if someone ahead of us has done a poor job. And you have to break that pattern, and you have to differentiate yourself. So you can do it with humor. You can do it with knowledge. The humorous way to do it is when someone says, oh, nope, we've got it all handled. You can say, ha-ha, the famous words of my best client. Or you can take the approach of, we use the trespassing laws, like securing the asset, or vacant house insurance, securing the asset and reducing liability. So when they say, oh, we've got it handled, our attorney has it handled, you're like, okay, well, listen, that's something that we hear from 10 out of 10 people, but 9 out of 10 end up realizing that they actually have a lot of exposure that the attorney didn't help them with. So if you've got 2 minutes, let me just make sure your family's protected, and then just be quiet. And that's like, what's your response to that? Like, curiosity takes over, right? And you're like, what's he talking about? What do you mean? What does he mean? Not 10 out of 10 people. Like, what does he know that I don't know? And you start to process. Well, at this point, I've got you back on your heels, and the next thing out of your mouth is probably a question. What do you mean? Help me. And I don't care even if you're abrasive like that, because I'm going to walk you back down, and I'm going to show you value, and then I have your best interest in mind. I'm not going to talk about real estate other than getting insurance on it and getting no trespassing signs in the window until I have rapport with you, and you're asking me questions and you're relaxed, and then we'll get into is the real estate, or do you plan to sell it, and all the details. And we cover this a lot on the role play calls. If you haven't listened to the archived role plays, you can go to alltheleads.com/CCVA. If you're on the web page, you can look under the complete system conference calls, and then go to the archive there. You can listen to it on your favorite podcast platform, but I would encourage you to listen to how other people handle it. Like, we have a lot of brave folks will come up and give us their pitch, but we role play that objection fairly often. You could, in the top right of alltheleads.com, if you put in "we've got it handled," you'll probably see at least 2 or 3 dozen of these calls where we've kind of role played that or discussed different ideas.
Okay. Well, I had one lady on the phone the other day, and she has a property from way back in 2019. And so she just kept telling me, my attorney's taking care of everything. And I try to explain to her that the attorney doesn't do everything, that there are tasks that she has to to do, the attorney does not take it. And she insisted the attorney was going to do everything. And I tried to point out to her, I said, well, he's not going to come in, you know, and take an inventory of the personal property, you know. And I talked about the insurance, and she wouldn't have anything to do with what I had to say. She was dead set on the attorney was doing everything. And I know there was one conversation I had heard that it said something about, oh, well, 10 months has gone by, and now the attorney called, and the attorney says to you, what have you done? And so the people said, well, you told us not to do anything. And so I'm really not sure what, I guess each attorney works differently, and of course, and not all attorneys are really going to advise their clients as to what to do.
Right. You're familiar with Pareto's principle, right? The 80-20?
Yeah.
So 80% of the industry isn't very good at what they do. 20% carry the weight and are very professional. So
yeah.
One of the things, I want you to write down 3 words.
Okay.
Feel, felt,
sound. I got that.
Have you heard me talk about this?
Oh yeah, I listened to a lot of your tapes that I write this stuff down, so I have it in front of me when I talk to people.
So the one thing I'll caution you, and I haven't role played with you, but I think just in hearing how you're delivering it here, I think you're being more accusatory. And I think you'll get the result you're looking for if you can soften your message. You're almost challenging them. Like, you know, and what I would say is lean more toward that empathetic feel, felt, found. It's tactical empathy, right? So listen, I understand how you feel. I mean, we worked with a ton of families that felt the same way, but what they found is relying on the attorney to do non-legal things, they ultimately learned that those non-legal aspects were their responsibility. And waiting on the attorney had not only made them more frustrated, it cost them tens of thousands of dollars in holding costs. And thank God the house didn't burn, because one of the things the attorney didn't help them do was properly secure the asset. And what I mean by that is if you have a vacant home that has not been transitioned to a vacant insurance policy and it burns down, your family is going to lose everything. If somebody kicks in the front door and sets up a meth lab in the back corner, as long as the police don't have probable cause to get in there, they're your tenant, and it could take you a year to get them out. And we have very simple things. Within the next 60 minutes, I can completely alleviate that liability and take that away. But what we find is the attorneys don't really explain their full scope of work, and it's only about 25% of everything that's required. Can you guess who the other 75% of responsibility falls to?
Yeah, to them.
So it's a rhetorical question, and they kind of get it, right? So I would encourage you not to challenge them, but use feel, felt, found to help them identify with other people in this situation, and help them understand that other people have allowed you to lead them through the process. And what they found is they had a really good outcome, and that should help let their guard down and have better conversations.
Okay, all right.
I'll throw in a technique to complement Chad's real quick. I'm actually closing a probate right now, and the agent on the other end, the buyer agent, called me the other day, and I was playing the role of a good listing agent representing my client and pushing back with my client's interest at heart. Now, the other agent, knowing that what I was doing didn't fit perfectly with the contract, told me, well, I think that you need to explain to your client the contract, and maybe I should explain it to you. And there's no better way to get on my nerves than try to explain something to me. And I was going to dig my heels in as much as possible, even though I knew that technically he had the contract on his side. But the fact that he said, let me explain it to you, made me dig in. And I feel like we do the same thing with our clients as well. Or our prospects as well, is let me explain this. So to complement what Chad said, we always teach asking better questions. So a really good question to ask is, when are you and the attorney meeting over at the house to go through the personal property and figure out what you're cleaning up?
So
you're not, make sure that you don't ask it in a very abrasive way, because that can come off very sarcastic if you're not delicate with it. But what you're looking for is pretend that you assume that they are meeting the attorney at the house to clean it out, and they go, oh no, we're doing that. Oh, okay, no problem. So would it be beneficial to actually have some help getting rid of some of the things that you guys don't want? So now you're just going into questions, and they're probably recognizing themselves because of the questions you're asking. They're recognizing themselves that maybe the attorney isn't helping us with everything that we thought they were.
That's a good one. I like that one. So,
all
okay.
Right. Hopefully
yeah.
that helps. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for asking the question, because it probably is the 25th time we've gone over it. But every time we come up with new slants. New slants, new ideas, new ways to handle it, and just different slants on the same old technique. So it's valuable, and it is something people come across all the time. So we appreciate you bringing it up again.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. We have 3 more in the queue. That should take us up nicely to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 2999. You're up next.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi. I found you guys through Pace Morby, and this is my first 3 days. This is my first call. I actually called somebody the other day without knowing what to say, and I was like, I think I should probably listen to some recordings. I guess.
Yep.
Hi, I'm here. Where do I start? Than anything.
Yeah. You're a subscriber, right?
Yeah, I am a subscriber. Right now I am wholesaling and creative financing, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should start learning some probate. And basically I just jumped in all in. I bought 3 counties, and I was like, yeah, this should work. So I went through all the videos, and I don't really have a specific question. It's just I guess when you first start having that questioning, I guess, how do you start that conversation? What are the first 3 or 4 questions? I mean, obviously it's a sensitive subject, so I'm kind of okay, what do I start with this? So that's kind of more my questioning than anything else. I have my own, I'm using your guys' CRM specifically for obviously the probate leads, but it's more just, do you guys go for is going to the person a low-hanging fruit, or is the probate attorney more difficult, I guess?
So the personal rep should be your first outreach, because they are the decision makers, and they have the assets that you're looking for, right? Think of this as a 2-pronged approach. One is marketing to the personal representative. The other is building a long-term referral partnership. A network of referral partners, and those are estate planning attorneys, elder care attorneys, nursing home employees, social workers, senior moving companies, estate sale companies, anyone who has contact with families in transition or in the late stage life planning, or dealing with the lack of a late stage life plan. Those people should understand all the things you can do, that you're a vertically integrated solution. No matter what the family's going through, you have a solution. And the other branch of that is marketing directly to the family. For that, you should, it sounds like you've already watched the Fast Track videos. The next thing I would say is in video 3 of Fast Track, you found the probate seller interview sheet, and that's what we talked about updating earlier. Bruce and I are working on a new version of that. I would suggest that you print that off. It's just going to help you do the right things in the right order. And then listen to the role play calls, like the archived role play calls. If you go to alltheleads.com/CCVA, in the first week of each month there's one. If you want to get them all in one place, you can go to youtube.com/alltheleads, and there's a playlist for role plays. Or you can just just subscribe to the podcast and have it in your pocket, on that. But we just started the podcast a couple of months ago, so you can't go all the way back in time yet. Have that probate seller interview sheet as you listen to me and Bruce and our subscribers do this, how we jump into that initial conversation. And you'll very quickly develop your own version of it. One thing I would say that is, you're identifying as, I'm a real estate investor that specializes in creative financing. Drop that title. You need to be you. So I learned, I first started going into these as an investor, and then I went in as a realtor. And then finally I got wise enough to learn I'm just Chad, and I'm not going to try to decide their outcome. I can make money on creative financing. I can make money on an acquisition. I can make money on an as-is sale, a conventional listing, or partnering and helping them flip the house. I have 10 different ways I can monetize this deal. I'm going to let their needs dictate what service I provide. And if you don't have a good brokerage partner, you should have, because you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. If you don't have your license, you should get that. And because over your career, a successful career in investing, you'll miss out on millions of dollars that you could have saved with a real estate license. And as long as you're an ethical person, you have no liability. You just keep everything compartmentalized, separate EIN, separate bank accounts, separate credit cards, separate entities. And so the idea is to be, the metaphor we use, the wheel. So you're the hub, and you as a creative financing expert are a spoke. You as a cash buyer are a spoke. You as a realtor are a spoke, along with the contractors, the clean-out crews, and everyone else. So as you approach these people, try to stay away from the titles, because if somebody came through before you with a letter that offended them or a phone call that offended them, and they titled themselves a real estate investor, well, guess what? You're going to adopt their reputation immediately, whether you like it or not. Because that's how the human brain works. So instead of that, call and say, hey, my name's Chad. I've got a team of people here in Roanoke built specifically to help families going through probate. And as part of that, we go to the courthouse, meet with the clerk each month, and she tells us who we should be reaching out to. So that's a much different approach than, hi, my name's Chad. I'm a real estate investor. We're looking to buy 10 houses in Roanoke this year. Do you guys have a home you'd like to sell? Or even more direct.
My approach is a little bit more delicate than that, but yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, I do see that. So I guess my next question is the mailer pieces. Like, I kind of flew through the website and was kind of figuring that out. Like, is there I guess if I watch that mailing video again, that's it for the mailing training? Like, you just pick your things and just let it and set it, forget it type of thing?
Yeah, pick the letter that feels best to you. Quite honestly, I mean, all of them have all the letters that are there because they work. And so whichever one seems to fit your personality and your business model the best. Creative financing is something that I wish everybody had a full toolkit. And it's not easy to teach, as I'm sure you know. It takes time to learn because there's a lot of moving parts to it. So you might want to highlight that, because that's a unique skill set, and you can provide options that a lot of people can't. Like the deal that got me into probate, I went into it giving them 4 options. Option 1 was a cash acquisition. Option 2 was an as-is sale. Option 3 was conventional, and option 4 was a lease with option to purchase. And to my surprise, that one met their needs the best. It was a free and clear asset. The lady, she needed money. She needed top dollar, and she needed it as fast as possible. And a lease option was the way that I could check all of her boxes. And I was the only person she spoke to. So you have, having the experience you have in creative finance investing, you've got more options available to you than most people, because you already know how to navigate that. So you may consider, working that into your marketing. Like we provide options ranging from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because a lot of families don't. If someone comes in and offers them less than they're willing to take, and everyone's offering the same dollar amount, they'll just sit there and do nothing for years, and that house will sit there and get in worse shape and rack up carrying costs. But you or I can come in and be like, that's a deal, man. I'll take it subject to the reverse mortgage staying in place because I can refinance it in the next 3 months, or I'll take it as a lease with option to purchase and sandwich into that, or whatever. So just make sure, pick a letter that fits your values and your business, and personalize it to yourself. And then just frequency is more important than having a series of 12 unique letters. It's more important that you continue putting that letter in front of them over time, because just like Dave Pannell said earlier in this call, the fortune's in the follow-up. These people will reach out for help when they need it most, and a lot of them will stay in probate quicksand for sometimes months and procrastinate and do nothing. But all that's doing is putting more and more and more and more pressure on them. So their motivation level is rising. So to quit marketing at 3 months is foolish. If you catch them at the 6-month mark, they're going to need your help more than ever, and they're going to want your help more than ever. So don't get too wrapped up in the perfect sequence of letters and the perfect copy. Focus more on the frequency. I'm going to get there early and be there often.
Yeah, definitely. The opening close is like a unicorn, right? You call them the first day, and they're like, yeah, let me send this over to you. It usually is a follow-up a week later, a week and a half later. Be like, what do you want to do? It's been a month. I guess then my action step for me, would you say, is go back and do the mailer and send the mailer out And then my next question, I guess, would be, because I think I just bought the list in the middle of the month for like my area. I got, I think, a month back and a month that's upcoming. And do I, like, for the subscriber-based thing, do I market to that list for that month, or is stacking that like August and July into September and then repurchasing September's list? Like, is it going to be a whole different new list? And I'm so stacking that list on top of August and July.
So you're going to get a new list every 30 days. We're going to give you all the probate filings from where we left off. So what I would recommend is figure out what your sequence is. And if you want to be aggressive, you should be marketing for 12 months. You should have it like 12 mail pieces. You can stack, you can, whatever that sequence is for you, but at least one mail piece per month for the first 12 months. The CRM is designed to save you money. So if you go in, I'll kind of paint a picture of how easy this can be. Today, you go design your letter. You go design your envelope. You place a mail order for the list that you have. During that mail order, you click autopilot, and let's just say that has 12 letters in it. You click autopilot. Tomorrow, our system pushes out a mail order. We mail the first letter of a series of 12 to your list, and you get one of your own letters in the mail so you know when to hit the phones. Next month, from now on, you never have to think about that list. For the next year, we're going to automate your marketing. The only job you have is while you're in the CRM talking to these people, be in the CRM, use the option status tab. So when one has already sold or they don't need your help or they don't own real estate, you're going to click opt out of email, opt out of calls, opt out of letters, opt out of Probate Plus. So that way you're never going to have an expense on that line again. So when the system automatically wakes up and sends your mail in December, you're not going to get charged for people you know you can't help. So the system is designed to take all the choke points out and automate as much as possible. So I would say your action plan is go find a letter you're comfortable with. Pick a sequence that you can afford for a 12-month period. And just understand that each month when a new list comes in, it's going to trigger that same sequence. So for some people, it's a 3-letter campaign because they're cash strapped. For others, they go big and they'll market for 18 months. Get that set up, hit autopilot, and then go listen to the role play archives and get your language down, and then just hit the phones. And you're going to fall on your face a few times. That's how we learn, right? That's how we get settled into good sales language. And by the time the system, when you get your leads next month, they're automatically going to drop in. They'll automatically order your mail. You'll automatically get a copy in your mailbox, and then you start making your calls. And it'll automate pretty much all that stuff, and you can accomplish everything I just said in the next hour if you just put your mind to it.
Awesome. I haven't also done the coaching call yet. Is that like, sure. I think I'm scheduled in the next, like, I think either Wednesday or Thursday. Do you guys go over that on the coaching call, I guess?
Yeah, Bruce will he'll make sure that he understands what your plan is and fills in any blind spots that you have.
Awesome. Super excited. Thank you, guys.
Michelle, you're up next, and hopefully we can squeeze David and Miss Allen also. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is real quick, and it may just be a technical question. You can hear me, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That was easy.
Yeah, I was just wondering that wasn't the question. Funny. Is there a way to just download only the list that I've already run the Probate Plus, so I know who has property? I can't figure out how to just to download the phone numbers of the people and to see how much property they have and where it is. Is there any way to customize that?
So the only download we have right now is download all with real estate, and that's going to bring all of the information. As we go through the feature requests and add things, in the next version you'll be able to customize your export. But for now, it's going to pull it all out.
Okay, I didn't even see the option, but that was a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't there.
So if you're in the list view, in the center, you'll hit download. You'll see the download box, and there'll be a lot of options. One has download parentheses all with real estate. That's the one you're looking for.
Yeah, the all with real estate wasn't there several weeks ago when I looked, so I know where you're talking about. I'll do that.
Okay.
See that we make improvements before you suggest them. Good idea.
Great. Thank you.
Next up, Sal, you're back.
Hey, I'm back. Two quick questions. One of them is about using a dialer. If you are using a type of dialer, and such as either Mojo, RedX, whatever that may be. Is there a way, if you have a large list of leads, and let's say there's 120 leads and you only got through 60 of them because there's about 4 numbers per lead, is there a way, if I want to continue calling on that list, for me to download that list and remove the ones already called so that the dialer doesn't pick the ones already called up?
So
does that make sense?
I would say if you want to use a dialer, we have a direct interface with Vulcan 7.
Okay.
And if you haven't already made a decision on the dialer technology, Vulcan will push your leads into there, and then you can manage your list using their tools. So it will show you the ones that you called and last time you called them. I would say that's going to be the easiest on you because there's no export import. We just push them directly there. So if you get signed up with Vulcan, just email support and say, here's my Vulcan user ID, and then every month we'll push your leads automatically into your dialer.
Okay, I'll do that. And then as far as organization, I remember, Chad, you showed your super intricate brain map on Mastery, and I'm not even trying to get close to that because it was like the scariest thing I've ever seen. But given that I'm quite old school from the point of view that I prefer to use pen and paper, but I'm willing to adapt. I'm trying to make sure that I stay organized from the point of view that we're contacting so many people every day, and you need to follow up with different ones at different times. What do you guys use? And because I feel like I often write it on a paper, and I have folders, but then I forget, and it's my own fault. I'm just trying to see, how can I adapt and fix this? What do you guys suggest as coaches?
The CRM we provide is incredibly simple by design. We don't want it to be, overly complicated. You can, if you're using the option status tab, if you're tracking the results of your phone calls and using the follow-up box, you can just simply go into the list view and sort by follow-up date, sort by last call date, and kind of manage your campaign there. The other thing that if you want to customize it a little bit more, there's a short code. So on the first tab, when you're in the lead detail view, the first tab will give you a short code box, and you could do anything you want in there. You could say, you could do like hashtag short sale prospect, and then apply that to them. And you can add that column into your CRM list view, so you could sort by short tag and focus. Today I'm going to focus just on the short sale opportunities, or today I'm going to focus just on the ones that have multiple properties. So that's the customization part of it. You can kind of customize your own workflow using the short codes. But that's something I think, jumping on a coaching call with Bruce and have him walk you through how he uses the CRM and how to be most efficient with it might be really helpful for you.
Will do. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much again.
All right. Chad, I know you got to go.
Jim, I do have to jump.
Yep, no problem. We're going to do a David Pannell sandwich. We starting in with David. David, you're up last.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys, that probate book I have for a PDF, can y'all send that out for me too?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I have to send them all to you, I guess. When I get them printed, I'll just forward them to wherever y'all need them.
Yeah. Send an email to support@alltheleads.com and copy Tim at alltheleads.com.
Okay.
He runs the mailing department.
Okay, awesome.
All right, guys, great call, great participation. I bet you guys can guess how I'm going to end this. I always end these calls the same way. I want to thank all 150 plus of you for showing up. I want to particularly thank the 10 or 11 people that actively participated, and I want to challenge each of you, take one thought, one great idea that you heard on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next week and share the results. And I almost forgot, our social media guru, Kat, asked me to tell you that several of the callers today were not in our Facebook group. Also, go to All the Leads Mastermind and join our Facebook group. And then please put an idea into practice, come back next Thursday, and share the results with the group. Make it a great week, guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay productive. Take care, and we'll talk to you same time next Thursday.